Hi everyone, I'm Constable Nicole Braithwaite.
And I'm Constable Kevin Goodmurphy.
Today is Bell Let's Talk Day. It's about starting the conversation and ending the stigma around mental health.
That's right. Do you know that 1 in 5 Canadians will experience some form of mental illness in their lifetime?
1 in 5 Canadians, that's quite the stat.
Right. So what we need to do today is to continue the conversation around ending that stigma and normalizing the fact that people suffer from mental illness in their life. So for you, Nicole, just can you talk about your experiences in dealing with some stressors, both personally and professionally, and how you best cope with those?
I'm a full-time mom and I'm also a police officer. So for me, I deal with stressors at home along with being at work. We see a lot of traumatic incidents at work. We deal with a lot of stuff at home. So in order for me to deal with a lot of that, I go to the gym a lot. I like to lift heavy weights. I run a lot. And then in the evenings, I like to spend time outside by myself and trying to, channel my thoughts when times are rough. So that's kind of how I spend my time dealing with stress. What about you?
So for me, again, personally, I do have young children, a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, who are a lot of work. And then on top of that, the stressors that come with the job. So as police officers, we are exposed to many traumatic events and having to compartmentalize and deal with people in their sort of the worst moments of their life and move on from that. And we don't always deal with those when we should be. So a lot of times, both stressors personally and professionally can build up to a point where we find ourselves in a bit of a crisis. And for me, coping looks like a few things. It's fitness, so it's working out. It's breathing exercises. I often meditate. It's really about the calm and the peace for me and being alone, where I can really sort of formulate my thoughts and work through things. So it's being in nature alone really helps me cope with my stress.
That's really good. And can you explain maybe something that you've dealt with that's brought upon mental health issues or illnesses in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I experienced something about a year ago now that was a first for me in my life, and that was anxiety. So it started around January, 2020, when I had what I now know was a panic attack for the first time in my life. I thought it was a heart attack. I ended up calling 911 and ended up in the hospital. But then from that, I started to experience anxiety, and it became a daily thing. And it became so much anxiety that it was affecting my ability to do my job as well as my ability to be a parent. I just couldn't cope anymore. And it got to the point where something had to change, something had to give. It was a frightening place to be in. I'm very comfortable talking about it now. I didn't know how to deal with it at the time very well, but I did reach out for help. And that looked like, in the form of reaching out to friends and family, as well as ultimately my doctor, who helped to get me on the right path. So I'm happy to say I'm managing my anxiety now, and let's hope it doesn't come back.
That's really good. I realized I was going through a lot of mental health issues and stuff at the time. So instead of going to my friends, probably you is who I end up spending most of my time talking about things that are going on in my life. I ended up seeing a therapist, and it was probably the best thing that I could have done for myself. I could no longer go to my family and my friends, so I sought the help of a professional, and I did that for a year straight. And it really helped, and it made me realize that there was a lot of stuff in my life that I hadn't dealt with, like my uncle committing suicide and just stuff that I had witnessed on the job over the years. And so that was a good thing, and now I continue to go to a therapist. But at first I was afraid to tell people that I was going to a therapist, and now I'm actually proud of it, and I think that it's something that everyone should do.
Absolutely. And I want to acknowledge as well that those that are watching this that are too nervous to speak about this, we acknowledge that it's not an easy thing to talk about. So for us, we are comfortable now to talk about it. But it's not that easy. So we encourage people who are suffering in silence to reach out. We encourage people to look around them at friends and family and coworkers and recognize when somebody else may be suffering and know when to have or start those difficult conversations. And sometimes that's as simple as saying, "Hey, how are you doing? I've noticed a change. How are things at home?" So we need to start and to continue these difficult conversations, and ultimately ending these stigmas, these negative stigmas associated to mental illness, when it's really, we need to normalize it.
Normalizing it and knowing that it's okay not to be okay. life is a roller coaster. There are many ups, there are many downs, and all those downs, if we can talk about them, they will lead to better times. So it's important that we don't just kind of put everything in a basket, close the door, and just walk away. We need to make sure that we're talking about things that really bug us.
Absolutely. So Bell Let's Talk Day, continue those conversations, start those difficult conversations, and look after each other.
And reach out to us if you need us. Take care of each other.
Thanks so much.